I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to actually make the manifestation process very easy and very effortless, and how to understand that reality is really magical and that you can start to see things happening in a way that you've never been able to see because you were too focused perhaps on the circumstances rather than seeing that you can become a master of your inner state of being. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly how you can do this so that you can manifest your reality in the most effortless and easy way possible. And this is the most important thing for becoming a master of your reality. And I'm going to be sharing with you in this video exactly how you can do this. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Now, the first thing that I want to share with you is notice where you contract. That's what I want you to start to notice in your experience. Where do you contract? What causes a contraction? Now, if you notice that something in your experience causes a contraction, that's not even a bad thing, because that's your higher self showing you where you believe something has to be hard, where you believe that there has to be some resistance in the process of what you're creating. So it's showing you where you have a belief system that's out of alignment with your higher self. So the first thing that I encourage you to do to master your reality is to see what causes any sort of contraction or negative emotion in your body. And I encourage you to start to see this not as a bad thing, because what happens is that if you have a contraction, what this is it's your ego attacking yourself. It's your ego judging yourself, having some sort of a lack belief system. Now, where most people go wrong, and this is what I used to do for the longest time, is that not only do we judge ourselves a lot of the times in life when things happen in a way that we believe is out of alignment with what we want, which oftentimes the circumstances happening is not actually indicating anything wrong, really, in terms of you not getting what you want. It's just something happening, and we assign a meaning to that circumstance, like, oh, this means I'm not going to be able to get what I want, right? Now, not only does that happen to a lot of us, and again, this happens to me sometimes. I'm not perfect by any means. I would never want you to think that. I experience contractions all the time, but what I encourage you to do is start to notice that contractions are going to happen. But where most people, I believe, in my experience, and where I've seen myself go wrong as well, and I see a lot of people in life do this as well, is not only do we judge ourselves, but we start to judge ourselves for judging ourselves, which creates a double, like you're doubling down on the negative energy. It's like, oh, I have a contraction. And then you feel bad about having a contraction. So not only do you have a contraction, you feel bad about having a contraction, which creates an even more intense contraction, which keeps you stuck in a negative feedback loop of negative energy, where you're actually right there, you're doing the opposite of manifesting your reality. You're not manifesting anything other than what you do not prefer, and you're staying stuck as a little limited human being that believes manifestation has to be hard. That's what happens, is you're stuck. You get energetically stuck in a certain state of consciousness, which you obviously don't want, but maybe there's a lack of consciousness and awareness that it is a choice to give all that contraction, all the energy. Now, what you want to do is start to reframe those contractions and see that that is actually a good thing. Because if you're going through your day in alignment, in your flow, connected to your higher self, and a contraction comes, that should be an exciting experience. That should be something that's like, oh, here's an area that I can investigate to notice where I'm not being my true self, right? That is very powerful, because you can start to notice where you're out of alignment, which only further indicates how in alignment you were previous to that happening, which you should be celebrating. So what you want to do is notice any lack beliefs that you have about physical reality, about how manifestation works, because a contraction, all that is a belief that is out of alignment with what you truly desire, what your higher self wants for you, which is of course you at a higher level, which is what you want for yourself, which is going to be helping you and others on the planet. Because when you're manifesting from a non-ego place, from your higher self place, this is going to be beneficial for you and the rest of the planet, but it's not something that you need to be forcing. But the first thing to do is to start to notice any lack beliefs in physical reality. Okay, where do you have any lack beliefs? Where do you believe that things have to be hard? Where do you believe that reality has to work in an A, B, C, D step, where things have to be logical and linear? Because here's what I've been noticing in the last couple of days, is that reality is not linear at all. You can manifest in ways that your ego and logical mind literally cannot understand. It literally makes no sense. The how, like how it happens, you don't need to worry about that. The how, like you can manifest in ways that literally does not make sense from that higher plane of consciousness. When you're at that higher plane of consciousness, the manifestation laws are completely different because you're in a different reality. You're not in physical reality anymore. You're in a higher consciousness state where the physical laws that applied in the 3D consciousness state on this physical dense planet Earth, which is not a bad thing, but Earth is not necessarily dense, but the perspectives that we have about Earth can be very dense. What's happening is that can be a huge block. So the most important thing for becoming a master of your reality is to start to master your state of being and notice where you contract, and start to notice where that is indicating that you are having a lack belief system of some kind, which shows you that such as manifestation has to be hard, or I need to feel resistance, or this means that I'm not going to get this thing, lack belief, I'm not going to get what I want, or this situation means I'm not going to get what I want, or this means I'm not going to be able to get my relationship that I want, or whatever you want, or money, or I'm not going to, it's like I'm running out of time, lack of time, right? You got to realize that at some point your consciousness gets to a level where these lack belief systems no longer apply to you, because you see that consciousness is not going to be like, it doesn't work that way when you're manifesting from a non-ego place. So what I encourage you to do is start to be open to the possibility that reality is non-linear. You want to break those patterns of familiarity, of doing the same things over and over and over, and break those patterns and start to trust in your energy. Okay? Trust in your energetic state of consciousness, and trust that when you trust in faith itself, because you can trust yourself circumstantially, you can trust in a structure, but can you trust in trust itself? Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. Can you trust in trust itself? The energy of trust. Can you trust in trust? If you can trust in trust and stop trying to use the energy to manifest, but use the energy for its own sake, you'll start to realize that reality is magical. But you have to drop the ideas of how things work, how you believe things work. I've noticed things happening in my experience the last couple days that have been completely magical. Like just literally while I was on the way to the store, I noticed that, this is gonna sound nuts, maybe some people won't believe this, but I was experiencing things that is even hard to communicate with words, even last night when I was lying in bed, where I realized that consciousness is not linear, and that the versions of me that I believe need to go through all these steps to, get to where I want to go, just instantly fell away while I was shifting into parallel reality versions of myself, just laying in my bed or just going for a walk outside, because I was just embodying the version of me that already had these things very naturally, very effortlessly, not really trying anything, just trusting in trust itself. And I would notice how when I shifted into that parallel version of myself, it's not that I was noticing things falling away from my experience that were out of alignment with who I wanted to be. I quite literally shifted into a frame of consciousness, into a parallel version of myself where I never even had those problems and challenges to begin with. So these challenges that I believed I needed to solve, such as things with my health or things that I experienced in any aspect of my life, the specifics don't matter, because the most important thing is for you, whatever you're trying to manifest, money, relationship, health, right? When you're in that version of yourself that consciousness, non-linear, connected to all that is, connected to oneness of all that is version of yourself. When you're in that state, what you got to realize is that the problems and challenges that you had from the lower state of consciousness no longer exist. They don't even exist anymore because you're at a higher level of consciousness. And when you're at that higher level of consciousness, physical laws are different. The things that you previously thought would need to be hard are no longer hard. Things that you believed were in your experience are no longer in your experience. It doesn't make any sense to the ego. The ego, like, while you're experiencing it, you might even have a contraction that brings you back down to those older versions of yourself. And you can notice that where you bringing yourself back down to those parallel versions of yourself that you don't want. And then when you're ready, go back into those higher versions of yourself, not higher or lower in terms of better or worse, but just more in alignment with your higher self's true desires, whatever you want. So the most important thing for becoming a master of your reality, to conclude this video, is to, number one, prioritize your state of being. I always talk about this, but notice where you contract and notice where you are out of alignment with the version of yourself that already has what you prefer, and where you're not in alignment with the state of consciousness that already has the things that you want, where the challenges and problems that you're trying to fix were never even a problem to begin with. And that doesn't make sense logically. So Frank says, what do you mean it never even happened? It was never even a problem. Because in those states of consciousness, the laws are different. It doesn't make any sense to the mind. When I experience this sometimes, when I shift into higher states of consciousness, I myself get a little bit shocked and I get scared sometimes, and then I react to the abundance. It's so abundant. It's so amazing. There's so much love, so much amazing flow in that state of consciousness that it kind of scares me a little bit and I drop back down. And that's part of the contrast, that's learning experience, because you want to be working your way up to those states of consciousness at your own pace, right? However you see fit. So if you apply this in your life, if you open yourself up to the possibility that reality is not linear, where you don't need to work from A to B to C, you could just be doing a simple action such as going for a walk, and then while you're going for that walk, that version of you that maybe an hour ago which had an issue no longer exists in that new state of consciousness. It doesn't make any sense. I get it. It sounds a little bit radical, but I encourage you to open yourself up to that possibility. And if you apply these things, I promise you, you'll notice that things will shift very quickly in your reality in a way that doesn't make sense to the ego, but it happens in a very magical and amazing way that feels effortless and has a lot of flow and just brings you all of your heart's true desires in the most effortless and easy way possible. And with that, I conclude this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video. I am taking only a few clients, so if you do want to be part of my coaching program, be sure to apply as soon as possible. Also, please hit that like button for me so that more people can get access to this content, because I do believe that every single person on this planet does deserve to know that they are the creators of their reality and they can manifest their reality and do so in the most effortless and easeful way possible. As always, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.